Today is Wednesday, the 12th of August, and coming into the market open today after yesterday. It was a relatively flat day for the most part across the board, but the S&P, Nasdaq, and Dow Jones did close slightly down on the day, only 0.34%, but still slightly down. The S&P and Nasdaq look really great in terms of this kind of being a bull flag for continuation to the upside. Market structure just looks very constructive. Um, the, the Nasdaq consolidating at this level, kind of remaining these highs, remaining above the 50-day, the 10 days back above the 20. It looks for now like it might need a little bit more time, but ultimately this is kind of the area where I'd expect continuation to the upside. And if not, then it wouldn't look. Say if price kind of fell back below the 10-day or even the 20-day, it wouldn't look great at all. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that the likelihood of that happening is very low. The Dow Jones probably looks the worst, I suppose, in terms of market structure. This wick that we had yesterday, and then closing at the low, making a new low, it does look like a lower high. But ultimately, because it's such a narrow ranging day, there's not too much volatility. It's nothing really that I'm concerned about. The IWM looks amazing. It had a really tight ranging day yesterday. It was the only indice that I track that closed up on the day, excluding the Kospi. But these four are the main ones, and it's consolidating right below its highs. So this is poised for a breakout. This is making higher lows. And really getting tight towards the end of this kind of bull flag, high tight flag, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it looks good. All moving averages are in line and moving higher. So the Kospi did close above its 20-day moving average for the first time since this downtrend really began. And that is constructive of not only a bottom, but then also constructive in terms of semiconductors and potentially some of the oversold semiconductors starting to find bases and potentially regain some upside momentum. So in regards to that, the semiconductor ETF is kind of telling that story. It's reclaimed its 20-day, it's holding above it quite consistently now, and it's starting to get tight. So around this area, it's kind of creating it is a support kind of resistance level. Is acted quite well as that. So if it does kind of push up above this 550 level, then it would be very constructive in terms of further upside momentum. Space stocks also looking like they're basing out. A real nice basing period here throughout kind of mid-July. It definitely looks like the bottom may be in for these space stocks. So if that does kind of if that is the case, then that would be supportive of potentially space stocks catching a bid and more optimism come back into the market, as space stocks and semis were the market leaders for quite a long time, basically throughout all of 2026 until recent months, and even 2025, a lot of 2025. So yeah, it'd be great for the market to regain some optimism in those sectors for sure. Healthcare still doing well, made new highs yesterday, or did pull back slightly, but doing very well. Biotech similarly looking quite good for now, not as strong as healthcare obviously, but looking all right. Energy is also looking good, which is a potential cause for concern. If oil continues to push higher, I imagine the energy sector will break out with it. But for now, it's holding below this key level. So this is the level to watch for me. If price does break through there and close above there, then I think it would pave the way for ultimately this high being taken and price moving even further to the upside. And then in regards to that, just having a look at oil. Oil is in a prime location to put in a lower high, and it's looking like yesterday was a bit of stalling in terms of price action, and this is the area where I'd like to see it kind of top out. I don't really want to see this level get tested at all. So the fact that no progress is really being made between Iran, US, and guess the market's still undecided, or there's a lot of uncertainty around how it wants to price that in. It's positive that oil isn't pushing much higher, but at the same time, I would like to see it come down a little bit, and hopefully there's some more clarity around Iran US soon. There's usually kind of updates, I suppose, every week or so, and we haven't really had one this week yet. In regards to gold and silver, they're continuing to push higher, but gold is more clear in terms of where it's at in terms of price. It's starting to come into its high time frame moving averages and looking like it may come into its 200-day, and that is the level that I'd expect it to reject from if it did get there. The 10 and 20 days are about to push above the 50 and are pushing higher. So short term, it's looking clearly like strength is coming back into metals, which it has, but for the most part, I would expect it to find some resistance kind of where it's at now. Bitcoin is still holding its low time frame moving averages, finding support on the 50 at the minute, and this comes at a time where Saylor has continued to, or strategy rather, have continued to sell off some of their Bitcoin. So the fact that the market's not reacting too negatively to this, and it's still kind of chopping in this range bound environment, is again is supportive of this being the bottom. And then also Mara sold a massive chunk of its Bitcoin yesterday. It sold around 20,000, I believe. So the fact that price didn't push lower off of this kind of news, that type of selling pressure is definitely constructive. It's like we're entering the phase now where bad news is no longer bad news, and all it would take is just some good news to push the market higher. So that's definitely something this Bitcoin's definitely something that I'm going to continue to watch and monitor. Breadth indicators are holding up relatively well. So the fact that we've been chopping around in this, well, not chopping around, but we've had a slight cooling off period over the last 5 days or so. The fact that breadth is holding strong, holding its footing, is constructive. It's showing that prices are being supported with where they're at. No real movement across the board. The number of stocks at their 52-week lows is still below 100. So no selling coming in, and obviously not a lot of buying, but the fact that it's fairly balanced is really constructive. And just to go a bit further into that, Stockbee's primary breadth indicators, fairly balanced, showing that bulls are slightly in control, not by a lot, but the fact that it is balanced is again just supportive of the fact that prices are being supported at these levels. So the big one today is CPI, and CPI will be released at 1:30 UK time. The main one that I'm going to be looking out for is core CPI. What figures come out in regards to this? For the most part, things have came in line throughout the course of this year. Figures have been reported in line with expectations. So I wouldn't expect anything different, but at the same time, I'm open to that possibility, given there's a lag effect in regards to inflation, and we have had a lot of reasons for inflation to spike in regards to oil, and the conflict between Iran and US being, I guess, prolonged for as long as it has been. So I think that's what the market's waiting for. It's obviously what the market's waiting for. It wants a bit more clarity around that. Is inflation ticking higher? Is it staying flat, or is it coming down? Which is what the market wants, which is what the Fed wants. So if it does come in softer than expectations, I think that would be taken really well by the market. And then inversely, if figures came in hotter than expectations, and I don't think the market would take that too well at all. But ultimately, I think this is the big one, and I'll react accordingly to that. So based on everything that I'm looking at, and in regards to price, in regards to breadth, in regards to today's news, I'm neutral, leaning cautiously bullish still, based on just prices looking great, things looking really constructive. But I'm neutral based on the fact that it does make sense that the market's kind of undecided for now, and because it's a key news day today. I don't want to have too much of a bias before those figures are actually released. So I'm neutral coming into today, but still leaning cautiously bullish based on price looking constructive and breadth also holding up very well.